start this.
No, it's okay. You guys have 5 minutes, so
Yeah,
we're actually 7.
What are you finding for where? Nice.
Oh,
Sorry. Good.
yeah, no, but
Good. Call to order the September 12th, 2023 Environmental Advisory Council meeting. Do a roll call. Alan Johnson.
Here.
Drew Germanowski.
Here.
Ian Spurr. Sandy Erger.
here.
Tom Carucci here. Laura Red.
Here.
Okay. All right. Glenn Kay. We'll just do this for the Jennifer Helton.
Here.
Kathy Dover.
Here.
Jean Bond.
Here.
Carol Schneider's here. Our junior.
No. Next one.
Oh, yeah, next one, yeah.
They don't use it.
All right.
They're usually done in June.
All right. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We didn't have executive session, new business, accept resignation of Kaitlyn O'Conner summer. We have a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
That was second.
Roll call, I guess. Sandy Erger,
Yes.
Drew Germanowski,
Yes.
Alan Johnson,
Yes.
Laura Ray, Tom Carucci, yes. Recommended voting member of council.
I would nominate Jennifer Helton. She's been on the committee as an associate member, and she's active and seems to have the right perspectives. So, yeah, I would nominate Jennifer.
I would second that.
How are we doing this? Last time you wanted to vote, you didn't want to vote against somebody, you always wanted to vote for somebody. Remember you gave a big speech there about
That's the way
the safe
Robert-
space?
It's just the way Robert rules are done. Yeah.
So how do you want us to vote? Do you want us to vote on Jen, or do you want us to vote for whoever we want?
You can accept other nominations.
Okay, I'm going to nominate Cheyenne Rain.
Who's not a member of the committee?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't follow the rules of any meeting, or following Robert's rules to nominate someone who's not on the committee.
That's our bylaws, and our bylaw says it can be anything. It's not Robert's.
Who is she or he?
Let's put an application. She's a real estate agent.
I don't have.
Why would we put somebody on the council who isn't a part of this council?
There's been a long tradition of only electing voting members for people who were associate members first. In the years I've been on this committee, I've never seen it done any other way.
Okay. Well, that's who I nominate. We don't have a second, we don't have a second.
I'll second it.
Second, okay. She seconded too.
You know, or she does. Well, but again, he's not gonna make it, so. I'll second. For protocol.
All right, so you want to do a roll call vote?
Yes.
Is there any, well, if there's any other nominations, right? Any other nominations? Anyone? All right, Alan Johnson,
I'll vote for Jennifer.
okay. Drew?
I vote for Jennifer.
Okay. Each absent. Laura Ray?
I vote for Jennifer.
All right, Sandy?
I'll vote.
Cheyenne?
Yes.
Cheyenne? And I'll vote for Cheyenne. All right. This recommendation needs to be approved by council. It's a recommendation to council. So that will go to council, but Jennifer Helton has been recommended by a 3-2 vote over Cheyenne. All right, appointment of associate. Any nominations?
What is this? Does he have
You're an associate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
You don't
So
vote.
it's the, all the resumes.
It's
Yeah.
non-voting.
I don't have those resumes. Are we, were we? Everybody was emailed all the resumes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read them.
do they go to packet? Yeah, of course. I'm gonna sit next to you, sorry. I'm
There's,
calling.
there's, oh, you're talking the
Actual
resumes?
resume.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were looking
Are
for.
we gonna do this the same way? In other words, we're gonna nominate everybody, then we're gonna go around and vote?
This is what Drew wants. He says you don't vote against anybody.
That's the way we're gonna do it?
You don't want to
It's
understand.
not something to do with what Drew wants. Drew wants us to follow Robert's Rules of Order. As chair of this committee, you should familiarize yourself with that, Norm. And you would learn that you shouldn't be nominating someone to a position who isn't on the committee in the first place.
Oh, thank you very much.
So,
Do you need one?
at this,
You want to say-
So we're moving on to the appointment of associate member. Does anybody have a nomination for an associate member? It's a non-voting member.
All nominate Chad. Weinberg.
I think it would be worth, I know I don't have to vote at this point, to
Yeah,
walk
actually you
through
do.
all of these. I think it's important to have read the
Correct.
resumes and talk openly about this and not roll into some kind of a
Right, I
form.
think we should discuss each candidate, and what do you think their strengths and weaknesses are?
I would like to propose the strength or environmentally have a background, support the mission of the E.A.C. at Lower Saucon. So reading through some of these, I mean, there's great candidates.
Yeah,
That
I was impressed.
it shows that there's a lot of interest, which is great. And then maybe we step back and move on to, you know, how you all feel and want to vote for as a rising, but I think it's important that somebody has the background and can support our mission.
Well, has everybody had an opportunity to read them or no?
Briefly,
Okay.
but I think we should discuss them as a committee.
Well, or bring one up if you have, I guess it would be, if you have somebody that you think is worthy of the nomination, bring them up and we'll discuss them.
But I think it.
Well, Alan said Chad, so why don't we discuss Chad first? Because he actually made a motion tonight. So
Well, I don't think it's a motion, I think we're in a discussion.
he said, he made a motion. He made a motion. He used the word motion. He used the motion. So I'm not saying we vote on it. I'm saying that's the first one to discuss. You got to discuss them in some type of order. Why not Chad first?
So I agree with
All right,
Chad.
I can vouch for Chad, being intelligent, and he does have his Bachelor of Science in
He
Biology,
has a degree in biology, yeah.
so that's a good thing.
I understand water and the importance of it.
I read it, I've seen it. I don't know yet, but I've seen it.
Later. I did.
So,
And I think it's nice to have a recommendation from somebody on the council.
yeah, so I mean, I had posted quite a while ago for, looking for people interested in the board, but those that went out.
Should we wait for you and focus?
No, I'm focused. Told multitask.
There's no such thing. Why are you on your phone when we're in a meeting? It's really unprofessional. Mr. President of the E.A.C., why are you on your phone?
So I can mention,
Do you have anything else?
He's accountable to nobody.
Do you have anything else on Chad?
no,
All right, somebody want?
I mean, we had some, to your point, we have some nice assortment of qualified candidates.
Mhm.
I think someone that is only focused on real estate and young children may not be the best candidate. I think,
Cheyenne was interested in the rail trail, which I do think they have enough, I mean,
and I think that would be a great position for her.
that's,
That's not a recommendation. I think it's important that the warehouse, Michael has a lot of warehouse development. I don't know if that coincides with how the E.A.C. will project.
Mike
Dennis,
Dennis, Michael
Dennis,
Pitaro,
Dennis,
Mike Pitaro, I would vouch for him.
Okay.
I really, I like him, I know him. He's new actually to the Saucon Valley.
And were we also discussing here, misheard, but are we discussing Alicia Reedman at the moment too?
That's Cheyenne.
Yeah.
She's
Cheyenne, yeah.
a real estate.
One thing that I'm concerned about there is, this is someone who says that they have experience both the acquisition and disposal of real property, as well as the development of raw land. Raw land sounds like open space to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So forested, open space, agriculture sounds like an opportunity for development.
Yeah,
That's not an E.A.C. ethic, in my opinion.
I agree. And I didn't see Dennis Danko with a strong background in E.A.C. As far as,
He's the one that's in the warehouse building business, so that scared me.
and then I think there, it's great, and then he has a background, but he's already on a committee, and when you've got 7 qualified people that we can discuss, I don't think we need to have another individual on the committee. When you have a community that should be involved.
There were some residents who commented about, at an open meeting recently, about the fact that there are oftentimes the same individuals holding several seats on several committees in the township, and how that's probably not a sensible way to do business. Lynn looks like a person that has the right environmental ethic here to me from what I see this application.
Agreed. Is that a motion?
She's a good researcher.
She is. She's a good candidate. Lynn Hill's a good candidate.
And
Yeah,
then
we need a
also
motion to-
Maya, or Maya, I'm not sure if that's how you say her name, Maya Simon. I like the native plant and gardening thing, because we don't have that. And I can say somebody reached out to me about 2 months ago. Not that I can do anything, but regarding invasive species being growing in our township, and they wanted to know like who I could send out there to check and do anything. It's like, I don't have any authority, and we don't have any kind of person like that in the township. So, I mean, we kind of let native plants go by the wayside. We used to be a little promoted of them and do the sales and that. So that's what I like about that.
Either one of you said Pete.
Well, I didn't want to cut, I tried, I started, but then I didn't want to cut anybody off.
So,
I was going to say, so basically what you need is, you need 2 nominations to, or I guess 3 if you wanted, but then they have to come down to, what's actually going to be recommended.
do you have any preferences? Do either of you have any preferences?
We never had this many openings at once.
I don't.
So we're voting on 2?
No, we should be on our own, right?
We're still
With 1 or 2.
Well, then we have 2 openings.
Two openings for
See,
associates.
there's 2, that's what I said, so
Yeah.
that's why I meant it, that's why I said 2. There's 2
Oh,
openings right now as associate, yeah, no, okay. What?
There's 1 voting and then.
No, voting's not an associate.
Yeah,
We
it's
just-
because Jennifer went
So-
to voting, so.
No, how many associates?
There's 1 associate.
All right, so there's only 1, and there's 1 voting.
Correct.
That's what
My
it meant.
apologies, I thought I misunderstood.
Is there only one? Is
1,
there only room for one associate?
that's right.
There's 2 openings, and we
Until
nominated
Jennifer gets,
Jennifer to be
promoted.
a voter.
Well, that's, yeah, and then we have to start all over again, because if she gets pushed up, then she'll go from.
So you-
Well, I mean, we would assume all these people
So anyway,
are
there's-
applying for both.
Right now,
No,
there's
no
only
one said
one
this.
person who is nominated. Does anybody want to nominate anybody
So,
else?
I'm sorry, Alan, hold on just 1 second. So we can't nominate 2 individuals this evening?
Well,
This
you're
is
not gonna
what
want
you guys do.
Associate position.
One is voting and one's
One
not.
opening, so next month it will probably come back.
Assuming, so here's, if I can comment on what I think, if we assume that council, if we assume that council honors this committee's vote, then Jennifer would be raised to a full voting member.
Correct.
And then, if they honor that, and then that position, I would think, would be open for further discussion at a future meeting
I see, yes,
to replace as an associate member.
yes,
So that leaves us with 1 associate opening.
right.
Tonight.
Tonight, yes. And then within,
next meeting, then there'll be another.
Next meeting, you have to, and so you can just hang on to these resumes and, I'm assuming, and
Well, it'll
we'll
be-
put it back out again
and-
too, I mean, we would have to,
And
yes.
others, yeah, we have to advertise it.
We have to
Others-
advertise it again,
Others could come in.
yeah.
Well, I don't know, in general
But it
elections,
doesn't eliminate them either, I was
in
gonna say.
regular elections, they have, 4, 5, 6 candidates.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And then they all are, on the ballot, and then when you get the ballot, then some win, some don't, whoever gets the most votes. wins.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing here.
So far, so I'm understanding that since we only have one opening, we can only have one candidate. I
Right,
mean, one nominee.
right.
Two openings now.
Well, we would vote on people that would move to nominate someone from within here. This is the general election. Robert's rules, anyone can nominate one of these individuals.
Yes,
And then we would see what our nominations are, and then we would vote on individuals to be elevated to associate member.
So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna, I guess you could, if you don't want Chad, you can vote on him and then say no. Go on to somebody else.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Have we nominated?
So let's
I mean,
make all our nominations at once, I guess.
We've described several people that many people had positive comments about.
right.
Well, I opened my mouth to begin with and nominated Chad. so
It hasn't been seconded.
He's gonna hang on that.
No, you haven't been seconded.
About it.
No, it needs to be
Oh, it
seconded.
needed to be seconded.
Yeah, it hasn't been seconded. That's what I'm saying.
Nobody seconded.
Out of respect to you.
Then I don't know what we're gonna do.
I'll second Chad's nomination.
All right, so then it will go to vote, but then if you have another nominee, then put them up.
I'll nominate Barrett Guy.
I'm sorry, Tom, who did you nominate?
Barrett Guy.
Oh, Dyer.
Yeah.
Eric Meyer, independent,
Right.
any resume with anything,
No qualifications.
no qualifications.
Yeah. All I did was nominate him when Sandy seconded him, so you don't have to vote for him, just nominate. All
I
right,
would
I
suggest we
nominate
is there any other nomination?
Lynn Hill, I nominate Lynn Hill.
Okay.
I will second her.
All right.
Mike Terrell. Okay, so we have a nomination for Mike Terrell, so, is it second?
Is there a second? Okay. So we have, as the nominees, right, we have Chad, Heimbecker, Lynn Hill, and Barrett Guy. They each received a nomination and a second.
Right.
So now I'm going to call the roll, and you should vote for whoever you want to vote for. Out of those 3 nominees, you can't vote for anybody else on the list because they didn't receive the second on the motion.
You're not gonna have a majority.
You don't know that. Let's see what it is. Let's see what the vote is. All right, we're going to start voting. Laura Ray.
I would vote for Chad.
Okay. Alan Johnson.
I'll vote for Chad.
All right. Drew Germanowski.
I'll vote for Chad.
Okay. Tom Perochi. I'll vote for Barrett Guy. Sandy Yurko.
I'll vote for Terrell.
All right. So it's
We got,
3 votes for Chad Heimbecker and 2 votes for Barrett Guy. Got that?
So then the minutes would show that the majority voted for Chad.
That's right.
yeah, they will.
And I'd like to take a few minutes and talk about myself
So there's
and,
only one opening, so either a recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Now, does
council.
that have to be approved by council?
I believe it does, yeah.
By the manager?
No, not the manager.
Not the manager, but
I
council.
guess we have to wait and see what happens.
Mhm.
That's where the vote is.
Never seen them do that for a single member.
That's where the
but I'd like to
vote is.
take a few minutes and just say about myself, so Sandy, maybe you can think through these candidates and if I'm a voting member. I am part of Saucon Creek Watershed. I am part of, certified as a watershed, master watershed with Penn State Extension. I've been very much involved in developing and running the community. I've been on various trainings. I keep abreast of all the E.A.C, but I think it's important that we're doing what's good for the environment and not voting
That's why I nominated you.
Yes.
Complete confidence.
All right, Jennifer, you discussed the Cooks Creek Watershed Association Steering Committee, E.A.C member, 50th anniversary. I believe you have some information on this.
Yeah, they have asked me to see if Lower Saucon E.A.C would like to be involved. In July of next year, they are having their 50-year anniversary. They have invited Springtown E.A.C, Upper Saucon, a bunch of E.A.Cs, as well as different watersheds to come and celebrate their 50 years. And so I'm here to just put that on our calendar, and if we want to, they said, just have a table, share information about the things that we do here in the township. Maybe if someone has a creative soul, if there's a craft for kids, or hand out information, could be coloring or something. But I thought it was a great opportunity. I'm already on that committee, so I bring that up. I think it'd be great to,
Yeah, I agree.
kind of get the word out.
Well, we've got Headwaters, it's great, in our jurisdiction, so. it's very
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah, and that's the other reason that's true.
Yeah.
All right, we can make a recommendation that, we do this. What do you think, though, you're going to need from council? Is there a cost of the table, or just a table, or what do you,
No, I think it would be mostly like if we needed any publications or anything like that. So yeah, some volunteers from the committee, and I will be there, of course, so, yeah.
All right, then why don't, we make a recommendation that we do this, have a table and do all this, and if there's any costs later that can be addressed, at a future meeting, and recommendation of council that they fund something if there's a cost.
Thank you. Keep
All
us
right.
posted.
So is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion, or you should make it if you want.
No, well, do you
Oh,
want to second it?
Well, I'm just associate.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah, okay.
Sure.
Anybody can make a motion.
All right, well, I'll make
No,
the
you made the
motion.
motion.
I made the motion.
So then you will
And I'll second
second.
the motion.
I was gonna say, you guys.
All right, so the motion is to recommend that the Lower Saucon Township E.A.C participates in the 50th anniversary of the Cooks Creek Watershed Association.
Yes.
Details to be determined. Details to be determined. So that's the motion. I'll do a roll call. Laura Ray,
Yes.
Al Johnson,
Yes.
Sandy Yerger,
Yes.
Drew Jermanowski,
Yes.
and Tom Carosi, yes. All right.
So then we have to select the steering committee member.
I thought it was, all right, I thought Jennifer was already on it. We need an actual member.
Oh, no, I'm on it. I asked them last night, the wording was a little off, and they said.
You're the steering committee.
Yeah.
And the EAC, we don't have to
Indirectly.
vote on that.
Yeah, she's right. Sorry.
No, we just voted to participate in the anniversary. Okay. So we have review proposed ordinance 2023-04 zoning map amendments in the area of Colesville Road and East State Route 378 from rural suburban to general business. It's, the ordinance is in your packet.
The map is right. This is just south of a fairly developed business corridor.
Yes, it's down
And
towards.
one of the issues we've heard is that this township, for its size, doesn't have a lot of business development and business tax base. So given that this is in a business corridor, in essence, I don't see any problems with this.
Yeah, by state law, we're supposed to, every township has to have a percentage, and we're under the recommended percentage, so we have to find some business areas to get up to what the state requires. So that's part of this as well, too. We're in the state.
Well, we'll say this is like not actually on 378 though, it's behind it.
So some of it's on 378.
No.
Well, it's mostly behind.
I don't think so.
Right.
If that's up to the.
Yeah, right. It's mostly
The
behind
interstate,
378.
So it'll be the-
which is not a place
Yeah.
where people go, it's a, which is a interstate.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, on
And-
the eastern side of it is a residential development.
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard from,
Well, those people think.
well,
Or did they say anything?
No, I've heard, because planning looked at this, and I've heard from, you know, people at both sides. There's a lot of people there that don't want it. There's also people that do want it, and one of the reasons they want it is because the only way, I mean, I personally think that Colesville Road 378 needs a traffic light. And the only way, the state, it's a state road. So they're the only ones that are allowed to put a traffic light there or authorize a traffic light to put there, because it's their road, it's a state road, it's not a township road. The only way is if you bring business in there and you quite frankly get a little bit more of a car count from what the experts tell me. So you disagree with that or not? I'm telling you what I've heard from
Look
people.
at the intersection that McDonald's
What
and
a-
Polk Valley had, how bad that is, there's no light there.
And that's a state road too, right?
I know, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
putting more business
Listen,
there.
this is all I heard. I'm not promising a light.
But unfortunately, it was Heller County stopped that.
Yes, we
Exactly.
tried to
Yes,
go
right.
like there
Yeah,
multiple times.
multiple
and-
times.
I don't think Ellertown wanted it either. That's
That's,
right.
so,
We didn't want it because the guy who runs the
McDonald's, that's right. The McIntyres don't want it. That's, to my mind, it's still.
Okay.
So I think that's a little bit of a different
So the
situation.
type of businesses that can go in there though seem weird for a neighborhood, because it's this new GB thing which brings together GB 1 and 2. So we have nurseries, gas station, banks, laundromat, craft shop, beverage distributor, car wash,
Right.
library, community center, like, all kinds of stuff could go there, restaurants, tavern, fast food, shopping center, vehicle and boat sales, truck and cook. I mean, none of that really seems appropriate for that.
All of it's there almost already. You have the guy selling boats right down the street. You
Yeah,
have a
right on
nursery-
the, right on
nursery
the
across the
highway
street.
though.
That's
Not
where it is
on the
right now.
neighborhood.
That's
I
where it
know.
is right now.
Where's their boats down the street?
There's boats down the street.
Where?
On 378.
No, there's no boats on sold on
Right next to Blair, they sell boats. Or pools and boats or whatever.
Pools, jacuzzis or something.
Whatever it is. Canoes, yeah.
And we have heard that there are sinkholes and whatever on the property.
All right, you know, it's.
Yes, there's a sinkhole
Okay.
property.
There's time for public comment. We'll get to it. So, I mean, like I said, I think there's no easy decision here. It's, you know, it's, the one argument is, you get more general business in an area that has businesses already, and you possibly get the state to put a traffic light in there. The other argument is the people on Colesville Road and Manor Drive and Saucon Lane don't want development that close to their houses, and that's kind of the decision. You know, I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong answer, it's just how you feel.
Have we heard from residents? Do we
Yeah,
know?
but there's one right here, but.
We have a whole
okay.
committee of neighbors, this is a
Yeah.
50 house development there.
Mhm.
Their backyards abut this property. First of all, the property is very sloped and it's not, but that is original forest and probably the last piece of original forest that we have in Lower Saucon.
So that is
You
forested.
You are well aware that across Colesville Road,
What the hell's
so
going
Upper Saucon has built that big development. So they've cut down tons of trees. So we're losing all of that. That's the fear, is that there would all be taken away.
So this is forested property at the moment.
Yes, it is.
And that I
And by
agree.
and large, there is a small strip, which if you look on your map, you'll see that it's already business. That strip does have it has like cottages that people live in, and one business building is on that. And it goes pretty far back. The rest of it is
It's 8.8.
wooded, and the people in my neighborhood are saying, and they are correct, if that land is taken and developed and by and large, that's gonna ruin the whole tenor of that development. And it's not amenable to business, it really isn't. We have horrible traffic situation because of the light he spoke about. We have traffic that stands along 378 at certain times of the day. To put businesses in there and increase that would be silly. Would we like a light? We would love a light, but that light is, that area, that's not in Lower Saucon Township.
Right.
So
Upper
Upper
Saucon
Saucon would
also.
have to be
They
instrumental.
are, and they're for it. Upper
Since
Saucon-
when? We've been asking for years.
It's not their decision. Don't you understand it's a state road? The state is the only one that can authorize a light there. I've said that 5 times.
All right, got it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they've
5
been,
times.
they have been
Sorry.
begging, they've been begging the state to put a light there for a long time.
Well,
That I know.
whereas I heard additional information here, although I initially spoke to say I don't see a problem here, now I think I see a problem. That's forested real estate. Furthermore, the day after we had our last township meeting, there was a newspaper article talking about the people in the Lehigh Valley writ large think the biggest environmental issue in the area is continued development and the lack of open space. So given that this township, the township residents have voted in favor of continuing to expand our open space, 8 acres of forest is a valuable use of real estate, in my opinion. So when the vote comes, I'm going to vote that we do not recommend the council to rezone this.
I read medical journals and the Journal of Allergy and Immunology. It's for people that suffer from seasonalities. Allentown, Pennsylvania is #1 in the country for air pollution. People with asthma, COPD. Allentown. Philadelphia is number like 14. It actually is less than Allentown because of all the traffic and all the stuff that's in the air. Absolutely.
I think any forest we can conserve, we should, being that we're threatened by a landfill that wants to wipe out our forest. So, if there's residents that are opposed to this that came here, we should listen to what they have to say. And, it should be
Hold on,
protected.
Janine.
Are you serious?
You don't have a chair that's paying attention, so you might.
Yeah, my 12-year-old daughter had it there. You can settle down. I thought it was in my safe space. All right, so is there a motion?
I make a motion not to recommend expanding general business over into this other section here for some of the reasons that we stated, that it's forested, we would like to keep that. I don't find it appropriate with sinkholes and looking at the types of businesses that could go there, that could wipe out every tree on the property. So
I would second that
I'm
motion.
against it.
I would like to see the forested land preserved, and I think that as people with an environmental focus here and people who are representing, in essence, township residents, if the township residents who are going to be most impacted by this don't want to see this happen, I respect that. I respect those wishes. I understand those wishes. I'll second that motion.
You have something to say, Sam?
Yeah, what I'm trying to figure out is, so, are you opposed to the section that abuts 378, or just the wooded areas that are that'll be kind of?
But
I'm just
we're
curious.
only looking at the number 3, right?
Yes, the GB, yeah.
The other thing's already done,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
right?
right, okay. I just want to make sure that everybody understood that.
Yeah, this was off the highway.
Yeah,
And you can see now, looking carefully at the proximity to all these lots.
Yes.
It's truly their backyard.
Well, I know one thing, I go to the Embassy Bank right there on the corner, and right behind the Embassy Bank, which I believe is borders on that property, is water.
Like Marcia.
It's always there. I don't know where it comes from.
Right.
It might be a spring or who knows what.
And when we keep developing the land, this is what's gonna happen, is that you're gonna have issues like this.
Well, this is again rezoning, there's not a land development plan before, so this is
Right.
Well, it's
rezoning.
the amount of time.
But we can guess what it could be.
well, but part of it
These
is,
things.
if there's sinkholes, you're not going to be allowed to put something in it. If there's streams, there's setbacks, so I'm not advocating this, but I'm just saying there are other things in place that would prohibit major development in this spot, is all I'm saying. At least if everything is accurate.
All right, anybody else? to where it showed that one resident showed up to speak against this.
I am representing my neighbors.
Yes, that's you, they're all here.
They all came to
Yeah,
the
just state your
planning
name
and
for
you
the
were cracking them.
My name is Jane Hecker. That's
Right.
1425, I signed in, so you
Yeah,
have it.
I want it on this record.
Yes,
so that it's-
yes.
it's- it's-
Yeah,
that's all.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're doing a recommendation, we're doing a recommendation against council passing ordinance 2023-04. Alan Johnson. It's a yes
Yes.
vote here.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Drew Germanosky.
Yes, I recommend against that rezoning.
Laura Ray.
Yes, against it.
Tom Caroci, I vote no. And Sandy Yerger.
Yes.
Yes, okay. 4 yeses against council recommendation. All right. We have review of proposed ordinance 2023-06, underground storage tanks and carbonate geologic areas. Anybody want to comment on ordinance 2023-06?
Okay,
That's also in the packet, I believe.
my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this has come up because what we're doing, our ordinance was stronger, if you would, than what is in federal laws and state laws. And we've come into some problems with that. So what this ordinance does is align it with the state and federal laws when dealing with this.
It's my understanding our rules were, they hadn't been updated since 2005, and they were not as stringent as the federal government rules that have been adopted since.
You said two different things.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I was saying.
I'm
It's
sorry.
my understanding
I'm
that
sorry,
they weren't.
Tom, Tom, can you please start over?
Yes.
Our Lower Saucon Township's,
It says right on page 1 of the ordinance, it says they were last amended
Right.
on April 6th of 2005. And then it says on page 1, the next paragraph, since the time of the 2005 amendment, the United States Environmental Protection Agency significantly upgraded its underground storage tank requirements to improve groundwater safety by improving requirements for operating and maintaining underground storage tanks, UST, that's what it stands for, equipment, and for preventing and detecting UST releases. So this is bringing our zoning ordinance into line with the federal law, what the Environmental Protection Agency requires. That's all I'm saying. It's clearly stated in the ordinance for anybody who might have read it before the meeting.
I did read the ordinance, and I'll tell you what, so look at the next whereas though, with, maybe it's two down, whereas the Township of Lower Saucon has reviewed the regulations found at 40 CFR 280 technical standards and corrective action requirement, blah, blah, and with the following minimum requirements set forth in this ordinance. We're not adopting the whole 40 CFR 280 technical standards thing. There's a lot. We're only bringing in some minimal things, and then I did a word for, I looked up every single one of these parts that were mentioned here. I did, I have them copied and pasted in here. And what seems odd is, in our amendment here, we specifically point to, so I'm on page 2 of, whatever this part is, 2 of the ordinance, I guess. So halfway down, it says spill or overfill prevention equipment specified by section 280.20C1 must be used for all transport product. So it only points to number 1. So when you go out there in that section, there's also a section 2 and 3, which get referred to by 1, so okay. And then there's a section 4 that is not mentioned here. So So in section 4, it says spill and overfill prevention equipment must be periodically tested or inspected in accordance with 280.35. So like, that's not here. Then the next thing is installation shall follow section 280.20E 4, 280.20E 5 shall also be followed for the clarified that the manufacturer's installation checklist will be completed and signed by the UST installer. When we go to that section, 280.20, there's all kinds of, I mean, we're only taking E4, E5, so there's an A, B, C, and D. So parts of it are skipped. And then down this 280.66B 2 and 3 for the hydrogeologic site assessment thing, that doesn't match up to what's out there. They have 280.66 as the corrective action plan, which isn't this. And when you read in there, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does mention in number 2 hydrogeologic characteristics. And then there's 3, proximity, quality, current, and future uses of nearby surface water and groundwater. That's like all in their code out there. And their code, their site is great, you can find anything, but we specifically point to these things that don't necessarily even match up to what's out there in the code. So they review and change their code every year, so wouldn't this make our ordinance, I don't know, not accurate every year? I don't know a better way to do it, but I think the whole ordinance is kind of, doesn't match up with what's out there in the code. And I got it from, the website is the Code of Federal Regulation, ecfr.gov, chapter 3. So, like, where did this come from, or who wrote this, or how did we get this?
Staff and our.
Staff, township manager, like the ordinance, they write all the ordinances.
Yeah, so we don't do it. This came from, and it was reviewed by Lincoln, our township staff.
That one doesn't look this up, though, like, the people on the website, these numbers don't match up to what it says here.
You
It's
can
what
always,
it's saying.
you can always resubmit it and have them.
As I'm looking at this letterhead, this came to us from the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, is
Yes.
that correct?
Well, that's not the ordinance, that's the review.
Yeah, that's just their review.
Decision.
So they did suggest stuff about, you know,
Okay, excellent.
surface, current distance,
Right.
whatever, groundwater protection.
I mean, trying to read between the lines, one of the things I think is driving this is we have a strict carbonated ordinance that doesn't allow underground storage tanks. What that does is, for example, I don't know how, if I have this exactly right, but I recall some years ago when the giant went in on the south side of Hellertown in Lower Saucon Township, that our ordinance prevented a gas station from going in there. And carbonated rocks are sensitive to contamination. I would be more amenable to something like this today, in 2023, than in 2000 for this reason. Then, gasoline stations, underground storage tanks weren't required to have leak detection systems in place. They do now. So what happened in the past was if an underground storage tank developed a leak and went from an underground storage tank to a leaky underground storage tank, you didn't know you had a leak and groundwater contamination problem unless the property changed hands, which the bank would necessitate phase 1 investigation to see if there are underground tanks and soil sampling, et cetera, et cetera. Because we have done a poor job, it just seems to be the nature of the animal, of containing petroleum. We no longer have underground steel storage tanks or metal storage tanks, which used to be standard. They're replaced with non-corrodable tanks, and everyone thought that would solve the problem. I have a good friend that runs a consulting firm that specializes in underground storage tank, leaky underground storage tank, remediation of contamination, and he's still thriving because we can't seem to contain petroleum effectively. The one difference, though, the one saving grace is that there are leak detection requirements now that should prevent contamination from getting out of hand before it's detected and remediation is ensued and the situation repaired. So there's always going to be a probability or possibility that any underground storage tank can leak, or in fact the delivery systems often leak or fail reasonably often. But the borough of Hellertown has multiple gas stations that have underground storage tanks, and they're functioning. I'm aware of any of them that have had to be remediated. That doesn't mean I know that they have not had problems. So I think what they're trying to say here is that under the modern regulations of trying to detect leaks early, they believe that protocols are in place to catch any particular failures early before it becomes a pervasive issue that contaminates groundwater or surface water systems by proxy. Doesn't guarantee it. So I just share that with everyone to think about this in 2023 as opposed to 2000 or 1990 when corrodable metal tanks were the standard.
Okay, we have an energy expert on planning, and he basically said the same thing, that there's no guarantees, but the technology is much, much better than it was in 2005 when we last amended our ordinance. And he wasn't concerned. He's like, he said exactly, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees over above ground tanks.
But one guarantee.
Planning did vote 5-9 to recommend that we take the ordinance.
Right, I don't think their code is bad out there, but I don't like how this is written and pointing to these specific things that seem to have changed since this was written.
I'm not sure what your concerns are with those.
Maybe they should be updated to match
They don't match.
They don't match, so if,
Like this is saying a hydrogeologic site assessment in accordance with section 28066B 2 and 3. Well, that's not what is there. I can send this over to
Well, I
whoever.
mean,
Do you want to review it again?
what are you saying?
well, I mean,
We can't hear you over
it
there?
doesn't, it's not going to matter.
I was going to say, if you want it to be reviewed by who wrote it, again, I don't know.
Maybe like the engineer would want to look this up.
I'm
and
pretty
see.
sure he did,
I
but
don't know.
I was going to say, but we could
Well,
request.
we have to make a recommendation on the ordinance, and that could be anything. That could be,
That's what I'm saying. If you want to
that
have
could
to go
be
back and
to
have it
accept it, to not, the council should not
Review.
accept it, or
as
you
per
think council should review it some more.
concerns, then we can do that.
But that doesn't mean that necessarily that they will, but it's a recommendation.
That's
The recommendation could be in whatever you want it to.
So is that what you want?
I mean, there's nothing that rushy about this anyway. It doesn't
No.
have to be approved at the next council meeting. I
Well,
would
this is what I'm
recommend that they
saying.
look at it again, and I'll send the
Our
information that I
motion-
looked up. So
Our motion is that the codes don't match.
We're going to let a voting member make the motion. So,
I think anybody can make a motion.
We just all right, go ahead. So, Laura, you have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend that this be reviewed again to assure that these references in our code align with what is out there that we're going by.
Align
What-
up
What's
there
the
where?
document? that you're looking at?
These
the
came
ordinance.
from this
Ordinance.
40 CFR Part 280.
Okay,
It's the federal
that's what I want to
Code
do.
of Federal Regulations, the CFR.
Okay, that's what
Yeah,
we
so
can
that
send him
it
into the right, whoever's
aligns
going to review
to
this.
what it's saying in here, look at this section, or look at that section, and make sure it's what they intend.
That's what, like I said, that's what I wanted part of your motion, make sure it's in there.
So however you want to put that in the motion, Carol, have that.
Yeah.
Well, you have to state the motion, so I'll
That's
write
what
it
I'm
down.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that what she wants is all in there, so that.
Right, so I'm making
the
a
request.
recommendation of the motion that staff review
The ordinance
the Code of
The
Federal
ordinance number.
Regulation. Yeah, for ordinance
2023-06, match.
2306 to make sure it matches what is actually out currently
On the
on
federal website.
the Code of Federal Regulations.
That's, okay, so we have a motion,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, second. All right, Drew Germanowski.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Alan Johnson.
Yeah, I agree.
Sandy Urt?
Yes.
Yes. Laura Ray?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to vote no, I think it's fine. All right. Discuss appointing a chairman for Adopt a Road program. Anybody have a nomination for a chairman of the
What is
Adopt a Road?
What is it?
Carol?
Okay, for the Dr. Road, you have to pick out a date that you'll be able to clean up and organize group to clean up.
Oh, just this
E.A.C.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
it's,
not-
no,
oh,
it's
had a
E.A.C.
formal
It's,
chairman.
E.A.C.
That's
has a
what I
road
thought it
on their
was.
own. Yeah, E.A.C. has a road.
It's just for the stretch of roads that the EAC has.
Correct.
That's right.
Caitlin would do that every year in the past,
Yeah.
so she's no longer with.
I think whoever, yeah, was, whoever
It
does
does.
stuff.
If it's just this committee.
Yeah, it wasn't over.
And you would need to pick a date.
Now?
Fall date that we can discuss in other words.
Now, so I know my schedule, so I don't have a phone. How about the first, how about the first weekend in November? Is that too late?
Yeah, is there
I don't know.
It actually might be better because some of the greenery along the side will be,
I
will be
know.
lower.
I don't know, I had to pick a date right
That's
this
the
second.
4th and 5th of those two. That's the Saturday,
Yes.
Sunday, 4th and 5th.
Yes,
You
thank
normally do it on
you.
Sunday, right?
What's the
Sure,
date, November 1st?
4th or 5th.
4th or 5th?
November.
So the one thing we're doing is, one step is that, are we agreeing to have Kathy Pitchell serve as the Adopt a Road coordinator for our
Someone has to
committees?
nominate her, that has to be seconded, and we'll vote.
Is that a nomination, Drew?
I'll nominate her.
Thank you.
Okay,
So
I'll
it's a-
second it.
I can pick up trash. Thank you,
All right.
everybody. I can pick up trash.
We're gonna vote, but, we'll vote. All right, Sandy Urt,
Yes.
Drew Germanowski,
Yes.
yes. Laura Ray,
Sure.
Alan Johnson,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for your faith in my trash.
And then, now a date,
What did you say, the 5th?
you said,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Is the 5th a
4th
Saturday or
5th
something?
No, the 5th is a Sunday, 4th is a Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be like a rain date kind of thing.
I was thinking 4th, but if it's usually a Sunday, then it'll be.
It's usually a Saturday.
It's
It's usually a Saturday.
I was gonna say,
Usually
We've done it
Saturday.
on Sunday. I think we've done it on Sunday if it rained on Saturday.
Yeah.
No, we've been doing Sundays since I helped Caitlin. Yeah, the last two. But it doesn't matter.
whatever.
I'm sorry,
Let's
that's
look at November 4th,
At this point.
Okay.
and if I recall, we had to be there at 8:30 in the morning or something.
Well, we pick our time.
You
I think we
pick
made it.
We just have to pick up the equipment
Stuff,
on
right.
Friday.
Right.
I just need a name of the chairperson so that I can convey that information, but I need a picked up day,
So it would be the
time, and then
third.
drop off.
And drop off.
Yeah.
So it would be the 3rd, and can I drop off, like, do I have to bring come to the here, or,
Public Works. You pick up at Public Works and you drop off there.
but do they have to be there?
That's why I have to schedule
They
it.
have to be there. Wonderful. Okay. Pick up, this is getting more complicated. Pick up, it's fine. Pick up on the 3rd, drop off on the 6th, and the cleanup days on the 4th.
And what time for pickup and drop off? We do actually schedule somebody to do that.
Pickup will be at, probably like 3:30,
3:30 p.m. on the 3rd.
and then drop off, maybe one of you can help. me
Actually, it
drop
has to be before 3. They work until 3.
4th, that's fine. I'll be
3
there.
o'clock.
Yep.
And then what time on the,
What time do they open in the morning?
they're here at 7, or
Good.
6.
6?
7 o'clock would be,
Perfect. How about 6:30? And that way I can get to work. No? Yes? Maybe?
let me see what the earliest.
7
time-
o'clock is fine. I'll just be out here, I'll be out here at 7 o'clock.
I'll send you a confirmation email.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so November 4th. All right. We just set that date.
Yes.
All right, developer items, no developer items. Updating reports, we need volunteers for the
Well,
fall.
she's just circulating that,
So,
so.
electronic recycling event that's been passed around. We need 6 or 7 volunteers. Okay, where is that?
Here.
No, but where's the sign up?
Oh,
sheet?
sorry.
Oh, that's on my
I'm
phone.
sorry.
So at the last recycling, I was the only one that was there from E.A.C. loading.
Okay.
I'm away that weekend. And I am as well.
We have
You won't
3.
have to load trucks though, because the.
Well, not loading the, unloading the cars, let's say, I was doing that.
Right, we need people along the roadway, so to help out.
At least some.
I think there was one from the school, I remember,
All right, we got 4, and we can,
and the other one.
yeah, we have 4. We can ask like Parks and Recs and stuff like that. Maybe they can volunteer. We have 4 already. We need 6 or 7.
How often does the e-recycling happen? Is it just once a year?
In the past, it was once a year, we partnered with Upper Saucon, so they didn't require us to help out at their event back in spring. So that's kind of how I worked it out, so we're taking care of all the volunteers for our end.
All right, review and approval of July 18th, 2023 minutes. Any comments on the minutes?
I noted one, I guess typo, probably autocorrect on the last page, page 10, line 25. I think that sentence starting on line 25 should read link rather than limbs. I think there must have been a spell check, spell correction there.
Very well.
But I think it's Link said that you're going to get into what is the Sunshine Act requirement.
Okay. Link, you said? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for
I
that.
maybe change required to requirements, I think would be the way that should read, Sunshine Act requirements.
Thank you.
And I found the one that I saw before on page 9 of 10, line 33, said we never discussed filling our voting should be position instead of procedure.
I have a highlight on page 10. I wasn't quite sure if that was Ann who seconded that motion. On page 10, where? Your motion.
And that was the motion to say we were voting against landfill rezoning,
I think it was the.
or, oh, that was the adjournment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been, that might have been her
It was the end.
contribution.
I think you have any question mark. I think
Yeah, yeah.
if not, we
I
adjourn.
wasn't sure, so I
It's
just
on a tape somewhere.
Yeah, listen. All right, anybody else have comments on the meeting minutes? Yeah. All right, then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 18th, 2023 E.A.C. meeting.
Second.
Second by Laura. That's fine. All right, Laura Ray?
Yes. With the corrections.
Yeah, with the corrections. Of course. Sandy Yerger,
Yes.
Drew Jermanowski,
Yes.
Alan Johnson,
Yes.
Tom Peruzzi, yes. Public comment on non-agenda items. Public comment on non-agenda.
All right, so here's my comment.
Hold on, they're gonna get you a microphone.
You want help? You
Is
know
it there? No, I'm gonna get you.
Oh,
She's getting it right here.
I
please on.
Yes.
Yes.
Janie Hecker, 1425 Colesville Road. My only comment is, and I appreciate the fact that you let me speak when I honestly was not supposed to speak. So thank you for your patience and indulgence. But I'm wondering, why is there no spot for public comment on agenda items? When that seems to be the practice in every other meeting that I've been to.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Because I would not have spoken out of, without, just,
Correct,
I don't like to do that. I like to do things at the appropriate time.
correct.
Thank you.
And we, in the past, I know when we do, a few times we have audience members, they come up and speak during the agenda item, because it makes sense. Don't know why our agenda's like this anymore.
Yeah, traditionally, I think people used to speak to the items
Yeah.
as they were
we
being
do.
considered.
All right. Thank you. Thanks. All right, no other public comment on the agenda, non-agenda items? Motion to adjourn, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I had one item,
Okay.
there's an E.A.C conference, and I didn't bring my phone, so I don't know when, but there's actually an E.A.C conference coming up, and I know we didn't get information about it, but
A conference is
it's like for the E.A.C organizations.
like state, regional, or
It's, yeah, it's like regional.
it's regional?
I think it's,
Laura, if you want to send information, I don't have any information on
I
this.
saw it on their website.
Do you want to
a while
forward it to
ago.
me? Then I can, make sure
Yeah,
everybody
I
has
just
it.
have no recollection if it's, I'm thinking it's in October. I have nothing.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. If you pass that
Yeah,
on
I
to
mean, they're
Carol,
good, they're
share
good
it.
for people to go to, and then especially new
It's
members,
more-
if you have a chance, because there's lots of great ideas at the,
I think that would be fabulous, probably during the week.
No, it's on the
they
weekend.
make them on a Saturday.
Good.
I
know,
I
that's
have
what
no
I-
idea, I'm really
I know.
opposed without my phone, so I can't tell you.
Are you able to send it to us in the E.A.C.?
I can at least send the, like the website for the conferences, yeah. but-
It's not Pennsylvania State, it's a regional. Like, I'm
Not
assuming
profit.
Yes, it's like our general area, like Jennifer and I went to one in the spring, I guess, down in, where the heck, down the turnpike a little bit, media. And it was like all the EACs from around, the eastern
Okay.
area. So that's, I think where I got the information for the lady that did the compost for us.
Give you ideas, that's good.
Yeah, it gives you ideas and, they have trainings, stormwater
same
trainings
thing
and
for
things like that too, so it's good to keep it in the know. That's all.
What you know, we can learn to take all the Robert's rules and move their chairs before we.
All right, so there's a motion, a second by Laura
Yeah.
for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
All right, Laura, then you're going to send me information.
Yeah.